At PureJayde, we believe success and fulfillment in anything begins with physical and mental wellness. By improving your mood and helping your body operate at peak performance, we believe you can achieve any goal you aspire to. Our wellness products are designed to offer natural stress reduction, boost mood, improve physical recovery, and fight off inflammation to help you be at your best. Try PureJayde CBD and experience elevated wellness. For more information, go to www.purejayde.com. That's www.purejayde.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. D&H Organic Hair Care. Feed your hair like you feed your body. Here we believe in your natural well-being, so we formulated our products to complement your hair and scalp with no harmful ingredients or animal byproducts. They are carefully crafted with the purest of essential oils, fruits, seeds, and botanicals. Visit us on Instagram and Facebook for more information. Two. All right, welcome back to Shall You Proceed podcast. I have missed all of you so very much. Today, I have an amazing guest with me doing great things for the community, for the youth, Miss Dozie Oheri. Am I saying that correct? Oh my God.
Yay!
I've been struggling all week with it. I was like, I want to butcher her name. I do not want to do that. I want to please give you the respect that you deserve. And, with names, and it just seems so powerful and meaningful. I want to make sure I get it out there the right way. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. Thank you for wanting to be on. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you, Miss Dozie, have a nonprofit foundation called Choose to Do Inc., right?
Yes.
So please tell everyone who you are and about your foundation.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I am really excited to be here and to meet you and to spread the word about what we do. My name is Dozie Oheri, and I am the founder and CEO of Choose to Do Inc. And Choose to Do Inc. is a nonprofit that mentors underprivileged youth. And our mission is to focus on the physical and mental benefits of positive thinking. So we essentially are a mental health and wellness organization for young adults 9 to 19 years old.
That's amazing. So what was your motivation to focus on the youth, one, and also that age range?
So I actually grew up, there were a few motivators for me. I grew up in a household where my parents are from Nigeria. So I grew up in an immigrant household. They came here and they had 5 kids. And I am the only girl of 4 boys.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Every time I say that, people are always like, "Oh, girl," I just feel your pain.
Yes, I understand.
It was tough. It was tough having to navigate the relationship between me and my brothers, and then also, being raised by immigrant parents, and them doing things for traditional. which meant that as long as you had clothes on your back and food on the table when you went to school, were afforded the opportunity to go to school, then that's really all that mattered. And so as a child, I internalized that as, I didn't get a lot of physical attention and a lot of affirmation. And for me, that's my love language. And so I internalized the lack of into a negative way, and that kind of festered as I grew up into an adult. And I had a lot of self-esteem issues as I grew up.
I don't
And
think
then
people
I
realize,
went
I'm
to
sorry to cross you. I don't think people realize culturally, because my family's from the Caribbean. So,
oh yes,
you see, you
it's the same thing.
So I totally understand what you're saying, because it was almost like, if you're not bleeding, you're going to school, your grades need to be phenomenal, you must achieve. Just because you got an A doesn't mean, you didn't get rewarded just for anything. You had to,
Right.
it was like you had to, and we don't have time for that. It's work, educate yourself, get
Mm-hmm.
older than me. And so some of us were lucky to have that affection, but
Mm-hmm.
you have a thick skin growing up
Yes.
in these
Yeah,
families. Yeah.
and I understand. So now, as an adult, after doing my work, I understand where they came from, and how it was for them growing up, and that is why they taught us in the way that they did, because they didn't know any better. They
Right.
just taught what they knew.
Right.
But unfortunately, it left a negative impact on my life, and so I went to therapy, and therapy helped me to learn about myself,
Mm-hmm.
who I am, what do I like, what am I about, and then I also professionally, after graduating from college, started working with other nonprofits, and and so I always had the love of giving back, the love of caring for others, but specifically working with kids. That was my profession. That's what I did after college, but also, like, as growing up as a child, my parents always wanted me to take care of kids, especially my mother. She
Mm-hmm.
would want me to take care of other people's kids, and I babysat from a young age, and so that grew into a love of taking care of kids.
Do you
And then
think
I
with
graduated.
your, sorry to cross you, but do you feel
You're fine.
that growing up and having those insecurities and your love language not being fulfilled, of course, and of course having family who doesn't understand what love love language really is,
Yeah.
um, has it made you even more nurturing with your kids that you mentor and you take care of?
Yes. So essentially, I create environments that I didn't have growing up,
Right.
and understanding what kids actually need. And so a lot of my career was working with kids, and then I became a nanny. Once I decided to start my own nonprofit, I became a nanny so that I could work for myself, essentially, and also work in the field, in the area that I I could focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And so nanny is really where I learned what kids need in child development.
Right.
And I worked with newborns up until kids of 18 years old, kids in high school, pretty much.
Right.
And no matter what age group I work with, no matter their demographic, their background, what I found and what I learned was that every child needed love. And love showed up in the most simplest forms. It wasn't what you were buying them. It wasn't where you were taking them on vacation. It was just simply you showing up for them every single day.
Right.
And so those little things that people often overlook is what I take and implement when I create my programs and when I structure my nonprofit.
So how long did it take between, okay, this is what I want to do, putting it together and launching?
So it took me. So I started. Let me think about that question. Let me think about that, because I haven't had that question answered to me before, and it's like, you know what? This is a process. Um,
Because
so I
getting your
would.
nonprofit status is difficult. It became difficult
Yeah.
after a while because so many people were just doing things at one point in time to where
Hmm.
it made it, you had to go through so much
Yes.
and turn in so much. It's not easy. And sometimes you can get discouraged. So I'd love to know, let people know what your process was and how you remained encouraged during that time.
Right. So I would say the idea came to me in 20, I think say 2014, 2015.
Okay.
I was working for a nonprofit. I was working for my third nonprofit at that point.
Okay.
And through my journey of working with nonprofits, I just became more frustrated for a number of reasons. One, the biggest reason for me was I just was not seeing the problem being solved.
Right.
And so I was frustrated in knowing that I could potentially help solve the problem and I wasn't being allowed to.
Hands are tied.
It's time. It's
Yeah.
just like you have an awesome team, but you would not let them do their job. And so it's like, what's the point of having a nonprofit if you're not going to solve the problem? That's essentially what a nonprofit is there for.
Yes.
So, and then this feeling just became stronger and stronger through the years. And then I ended up at my last job working for a nonprofit. And at that point, I was just like, I was done. I was like, you know what? I can create my own nonprofit. And I knew I could do it. I just didn't know how to do it. So I made the decision to quit and then begin the journey. And that journey looked for me like I did a lot of research and figuring out what it is that had to happen in order for me to do that. Luckily, I was blessed to meet people along the way that knew me, knew my character, and wanted to support me. And
That's
that
amazing.
happened through my professional career. Thank you. And a lot of people don't get that. But through my professional career, people gravitated towards me. And in the jobs that I was working, people supporting me when I was doing that. So when I finally left, I had a base to go to ask for advice. And so that's when I began the paperwork.
Yeah.
And when I began the paperwork, I had people to help me along the way so I can't say that I got here on my own because I did it.
Well,
I
it
had a
takes a
lot of
village. It takes a
uh,
village, and it takes people who support you and see your vision, which is really, really amazing. It's a tribute to who you are and what you've probably been doing for years.
yes, thank you. Yeah, so I had a lot of people that have helped me along the way and that have done it for me without charge. Didn't charge me a dime, to do
Nice.
this. And so I got the paperwork. I essentially did the paperwork by myself with the input of others, but I sat down and did that paperwork, and it took me about 6 months or so before I became legitimate and before I got my 501c3 status.
So once you got your status and you're okay, the motivation's still there, you have all this drive, you want to do so much more than what you was seeing being done, because I think that's the issue people have with nonprofit. They're out there, but very few can really pinpoint who's really putting words and actions together. So once you were done, what was the first thing you wanted to implement to start helping and working in your passion?
So once I got the 501c3 status,
Yes, ma'am.
I knew my mission because it requires that you have that on paper before you can apply or before you're approved. And then I knew I had board members, I knew that I needed volunteers. And so things I also knew from working with other nonprofits.
Okay.
And I knew that I also needed a program because I couldn't have the paperwork without having a program. The thing is, I didn't know what that program looked like. It didn't have a name.
Right.
I didn't have a structure I knew nothing. I just knew that I wanted to service kids. And so what happened was I had an idea and I tried out my idea. Was, okay, I'm going to start with mentoring girls. And I was like, okay, so if I'm going to start with mentoring girls, I need girls to mentor.
Right.
And something told me to do a quick search for friends and to see, who maybe has a connection to a group of girls that I can mentor. And actually, one of my friends came to mind. He is an activist.
Okay.
He works in the community, so he has connections. And so instead of me reaching out to him directly, I kind of went through his Facebook page to see, who he had worked with in the past.
That's what
Or
you
what he's
have to
currently
do. You
doing.
have to search and
You gotta
you,
look
you gotta
because
search and look, and because you never know, and you don't want to reach out to people thinking, who is this person? But you'll be surprised how many connections you have just in your own
hmm
social media
exactly
platform, and you just reach out and you put out 1,000 things, you'll get at least 2 or 3 like, okay, what do you need help with? So
right. And you don't have to go to through someone directly.
no,
You
not
know,
at
as long
all.
as you know somebody, and your character, they know your character, then doors will open for you. And so I reached out to, I saw that he was he had volunteered somewhere. And he actually volunteered at this place called the Pink Giraffe House, which
Okay.
is a drop-in center for teenagers. And so I visited the home. I visited the center, and I just walked in there one day, and I was like, you know what? Let me speak to whoever who's running the center. 'Cause I didn't know that person directly, and she wasn't there that day. And so I met with somebody, and they told me to come back. She'll be here on a Wednesday or something like that. So I came back, and she was there, and there were no kids there when she was there, and I met with her, and she was asking me questions that I did not have answers to. I
Mhm.
didn't have any material to present. I literally had nothing but an idea. And so I pitched my idea to her, and she looked at me and she was like, you know what, this sounds like it's doable. I think we can have you come in and mentor our kids. And I was there for the next 5 weeks, mentoring their
Nice.
kids with no idea of what the program looked like. At that point I had to build it out. And so
It's all about
that's
trial and
how
error, though, right? It's all about,
it's
at
a
least
lot of
you have,
trust. It's 100%.
yeah, trial and error. As long as you have the idea and you want to do good and you want to do positive things, no one walks into anything knowing, having all the answers. And
hmm
so at least you made a connection and you went in there and you gave those girls 5 weeks of probably great motivation and advice, because young women that age, they tend to not really tell you. You think they would tell you what's going on and what they need. And so they need someone outside of family to talk to. So that's really good that you're able to be there for them.
Thank you. And I think it also, now that I'm looking back at it, it's like I was scared the whole entire time, like not knowing what I'm doing, but trusting in my abilities, my capabilities, and the reason why I'm put on this earth, and a being higher than me that knows that I have a purpose, and is ordering my steps to walk in that purpose. I went into each meeting confident, even though I didn't have a plan, and it clearly showed that I didn't have a plan. But it's my passion and my dedication, and the fact that I'm willing to take a risk on my who I am and what I stand for, and to convey that to someone, to believe in me enough to take a chance on me, says a lot.
So, with
So
everything going on right now, and your focus being, of course, the kids, and they need so much molding and so much support, even more so now with COVID and the total flip of how we interact, how we educate, how we motivate. I know back in 2019, you had some face to face, you had a brunch, you had different things you were doing. So now you're moving to virtual mentorship. How have you made that transition, and how are you still keeping in touch with those kids that you are mentoring and being there for?
when COVID hit, actually when the stay-at-home ban hit, we were in the middle of mentoring a group of boys at Addicts Middle School, which
Okay.
is in the Sunnyside area in Houston, Texas. And it caused us to do things a lot different. Actually, keeping it all the way 100% honest, I thought that meant I could have a break, because I at the time was the person that was running all the classes. I was doing pretty much everything at the time, because I didn't have interns with me at that time. I didn't have board members that could come out. We didn't have a lot of volunteers at that time. And so I was doing everything up until COVID hit. And so I was like, oh yeah, we got a break. I can just, relax for like a month or two, and I'm gonna be good.
No.
But no. Yeah, I know, right? That's where my mind was going. And then I had a
Right.
board member who reached out to me, and she said, okay, so we have to start planning for this. And I was like, okay, fine. No vacation, I'll get back to work. And so that caused us to create our online classes, which we have today. And our online, what we do with our online classes is we collaborate with like-minded um, businesses and individuals and organizations that volunteered their time to create and teach an activity to our online audience.
Okay.
And so we quickly realized that our kids that we typically would mentor in person don't follow us online. They don't have access to our Instagrams, our websites, our any of our online material, for multiple reasons, but mostly because they're kids, you
Right.
know. And so, but we do have an online audience of people that take care of these kids, the communities. And so we had originally we had the motivation and the idea to find ways to include their families and include the communities to support the kids. And so COVID kind of just like kind of forced that up on us earlier than later.
Right. I think COVID forced a lot of us to
Switch and
find
do
that
things
creative
differently.
bone
Yes,
and
to be innovative.
to be
To be
innovative, because I'm a librarian outside of all of this.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah. So,
I mean, that's awesome.
oh, thank you. And, I didn't think I would miss those kids in the library as much as I do right now, even though we
Hmm.
are open with limited hours. But when we did have to shut down, I thought we was on break. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, it's going to be a few weeks. And then now that we're going back and every day is different with the kids and how they're going to school and being online, we've run into making sure we have enough technology for those kids, like you're saying, who do not have access at home, because it may be one computer, the internet may be slow because everyone's on it,
Hmm.
and just trying to revamp those programs for those kids that need us as that outlet. Some of them, we're
Hmm.
the only place that has AC for them. We're the only place that can read in peace. And so we try our best to change our profession in a way from just being resource to reaching out with that resource. So I
Yeah.
was looking online. I see you have your programs, Breaking the Cycle. You have the internship program, and you have online courses. That's what you was talking about. So can we go
Hmm.
into a little bit of detail of Breaking the Cycle? I know it's 5 classes. You said ages 9 to 19. Um, when you go into the classes, how do you transition from class 1 to class 2? What does each module look like?
So Breaking the Cycle is made up of 5 classes,
Okay.
and it's a program that promotes self-love and leadership among boys and girls 9 to 19 years old. So with each class, it's over the course of 5 weeks. So it's one class a week, and then it also varies based on the location, but most likely it's over a 5-week period.
Okay.
And with each class, we have a specific topic that we talk about. And then we create activities that are centered around that topic. So the first class is, I believe it's Healthy Love. Let me go. I think it's, wait, let me pause and go actually to the class so I don't give you
I
guys
think
the
it's
wrong
positive
dates.
talk.
Positive
Positive
self talk.
self-talk. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So the first class is positive self-talk, and in that class, so first of all, the boys and girls are separate. We don't mentor them together.
Okay.
So the boys have their own 5 weeks, and then the girls have their own 5 weeks. But they each have the same topic that we teach from. So for the first class, we talk about positive self-talk, and that class is created for the kids to recognize that they have an inner voice. And what is your inner voice saying to you? Is your inner voice tearing you down? If so, these are healthy ways where you can switch that around to talk to yourself in a positive way. And so that's what that first class is about. And then the second class, we talk about unhealthy versus healthy love relationships. And we get the kids to see that there is a difference between the two, and then to recognize if they have that in their own life, and to focus more on cultivating healthy love relationships in their lives. And then in the third class, we talk about fears, and it's actually called Let's Talk Fears. And in that class, we get the kids to recognize what their fears are, to shine a light on them, and then to get them to see that fears are sometimes things that hold you back, and sometimes they serve a purpose for you to get to the other side. And then a lot of the times the kids, in talking about their fears, they realize that in talking about their fears is in a group setting, they realize that they share some fears with somebody else. And so it helps them to recognize that they're not alone in experiencing those fears. And then in the fourth class, we talk about creating a vision for themselves, which is essentially our vision board class. And for me, that's one of the most important classes because we don't talk about you becoming a lawyer, an engineer, or a doctor. We get you to think about your life holistically. Like, how do you want to feel when, 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to have? What does that conversation look like? When you're talking about your future, let's talk about things you like doing. Let's see what that could potentially turn out for you in the future, outside of being a lawyer, a doctor, because essentially kids are told that they should be something, but we want you to have the license to choose what that is for yourself.
Do you think the pressure is on? Because I don't remember knowing what I wanted to do at 17, 18. I mean, yeah, I went to school, but I mean, the pressure is on for these kids. And I've known with
Yes,
Impact, where they can get college classes so early to when they graduate, they already have their associate's degree, they have a career set. A lot of us had no idea until our sophomore, junior year what we really wanted to do, you know?
exactly.
And the pressure of keeping up, especially if you have family members who have not succeeded by what the society terms are and who have, and being compared to other classmates, knowing that you may not have the resources or the money, or you think you don't have the resources of everyone else. On top of that, right now, what's going on with online social media? I don't know how old you are, but I didn't have all that. So whatever we
Yeah,
did
me neither.
wasn't broadcasted the way the way it is right now.
Hmm.
So these
It's
kids
such
are
a different
battling.
world.
It's totally different, and it's that like at one point I felt like the old lady thinking, "What's wrong with these children?" But now I'm realizing it's different. You know, these kids are getting
Yes.
bullied online. Society has sensationalized what should not be, and trying to keep up with all of that. So I really admire the classes you had with positive self-talk. Growing up, like you said, you didn't get the love language that you needed, so you felt down. I can say that I got love from one and it was shown differently from someone else. So I had those doubts in my head, and trying really hard not to make that manifest into something totally negative in my life took a lot of therapy and a lot of
Hmm.
great friendships. So let me ask you this, with everything going on right now, because a lot of these kids from 9 to 19 are now first time seeing um, inequality, first time seeing actual hate in this world. How do you see yourself mentoring kids now with what's going on currently with the protesting and the uprising of voices that may have not been heard by some people's standards beforehand?
So for us, nothing really has changed because from the beginning, we've had a space where kids can be themselves. And so these discussions, they happen within our groups.
Mhm.
And so we within our description, we say that we don't discriminate against religion, what you look like, your sexual orientation, where you come from. Like, we don't, and we mean that. We do not discriminate against your background or who you are, what you believe. And so we create a unbiased playing field for the kids. So that helps them to relate to each other. When we can put all of that aside, and you come to the door. The minute you come to the door, you're a human, and then you're our family. And so we treat you as such. And so the kids, and you can see it in their faces. You can see it when they're talking to us, how they interact with us, that they take on, that they also, they come in and they believe that they're our family and that they're human first. So for us, we've always been, I mean, we like I created a nonprofit because, not just because of what I experienced, but also because of I want to create the world that I want to live in.
Mhm.
And my network is very diverse. There are, like, if you look at my board members, that reflects my friendships. Those reflect the people that are in my life outside of my family. And so I wanted to create a nonprofit that reflects that as well, where no matter what you look like, no matter what your sexual orientation is, no matter what demographic you come from, what you believe, this is a place where you're human first, and then you're our family.
That listen, I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, because I think so many of us get caught up in ourself. And I was telling a friend of mine that it's not natural for us to separate and think selfishly. We as a people were meant to have the village mentality. We have to, like my mom used to say, one hand can't clap. We have to help each other. We have to be for each other.
Mm,
We have to pick each other up. And um, it's all about being there and giving the young who's coming after you so they can surpass you and do better than you, but not forget, what the foundation is. And I think what's been happening lately is we succeed, we advance, we accumulate, we get, and we forget. We forget where
mm,
we came from, we forget what we left behind. We forget those things, and we're forgetting also the ones who have not been born yet, who need to see you know that I still care, that I succeeded, but I have been you at one point in time. And I really believe
mm,
that your nonprofit's going to do that and is doing that. And I see that we can be, well, I can't be an intern, but please tell everyone about your internship program. I know it's for high school and college students. Oh, and working adults. Okay, I can be an intern. So,
yes, I was just gonna say you could be intern if you wanted to. So our internship program gives individuals the opportunity to gain working experience, make connections in their areas of interest, and cultivates talent. Our interns are high school, college students, and working adults. They enroll in internships that range from a semester, which is spring, summer, fall, or winter, to a full year. And then we work with local universities to provide course credit to student interns as an incentive. So we currently have 5 internship positions. And for in the summer of 2020, we have 2 interns currently working with us. But I started the internship program in 2018 because I needed support, and then also I knew that mentorship had to continue through adulthood, and so if I could provide an internship or a mentorship program where I can cultivate talent, and also provide a net. For me, it's most importantly to provide a network for people to utilize. And if I could put those two together, then like that'd be golden. And
mhm.
so I started working with TSU first, and that's where my first 2 interns came from. And now I work with Prairie View A&M, and Texas Southern University. And I also would like to work with U of H, University of Houston, and HCC, just the local campuses here in Houston, Texas, and then get some adults coming through the program as well. But yeah, so we've had, I think, 7 interns so far come through our program since 2018. And some of them have graduated, some of them are graduating, and they keep in contact with us, and I like to hear how they're doing, and also to provide them. So it's an ongoing relationship. It doesn't just end once they graduate or once they leave the internship. It's forever.
And that's good. I think a lot of internships tend to end, and you wonder where they are, or they wonder where's the person who was helping me. And I think we all need mentorship, even into adulthood. Heck, I need an intern. I
Mhm.
need them. I need a mentor, um, because we don't have all the answers. You know what I mean? And we can always every day, as we learned in 2020, is a different day, and we have to reinvent ourselves. And you just don't know. You have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you. Please tell everyone where to find you, your website. I know you have your YouTube, your classes on YouTube. Um, you're on Facebook, but please tell everyone where to find you and how to get in contact with you.
Sure. So you can find us on our website. at www.choosetodoinc.org, and that is spelled CHOOSETODOINC.org. And then also on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Choose to Do Inc. And that's also spelled CHOOSETODOINC. And then on LinkedIn, you can just look up our business name, Choose to Do Inc., and we're on there. So we're pretty active on social media. If you are interested in volunteering or collaborating with us in teaching a class, if you want to host a virtual day of service with your company where your volunteers can participate and give back or provide a service in some way, or work on a project, you can contact us through our website at www.choosetodoinc.org, and we'll respond to you.
Let me ask you a question. So let's say, are you into partnerships with other organizations? I'm part of different
Yes.
organizations, and we're always looking for ways to give back and mentor and just do what we can, not the typical regular stuff. Are you into the partnerships type of thing? If I wanted to come to you and say, hey, I have 20 women with me who want to help mentor, is that a possibility?
Yes, actually, we're actually working with collaborating with Houston Young Lords Association, and they're hosting a day of service where they're going to be teaching classes that we're going to upload to our YouTube channel. And so currently that's what we're doing in terms of mentorship and volunteering, but we're always open to work with, partner with someone or with individuals. That's how we have gotten to where we are today, is by partnering, working with others. And so I'm a big proponent of that. Yeah, so we'd love to have you and welcome anyone else that's interested in doing that with us.
Thank you. I needed this one. It's a personal little note I needed to
Yeah.
have right there. Personal. Well, I want to say, Dozie, thank you so much for wanting to be on and using my platform to share your platform. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to push your foundation. I've already liked you on Facebook. I liked you on Instagram. I've been on your YouTube page. I'm going to try to share all of your stuff. I will make sure that all your information is in the show description, and I'll be constantly pushing your initiative because I truly support what you're doing. I want to say thank you so much for remembering and keeping the youth in mind. They tend to get forgotten. So I want to say thank you so much for that.
Yeah. You're welcome. And thank you for having me.
Oh,
I love this interview. This was
thank
fun.
you. You always give me feedback, anything to improve. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, please make sure you follow on Facebook and Instagram. Go to their website, go to their YouTube page. All the information is going to be in the show description. Please try to become an intern if you can. Adults can intern. You're not too old. Get your kids in the program. You can donate. There's information on how to donate and also be a sponsor on their website. So thank you so much, Dozie, for coming on. I truly appreciate it. Everyone, I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And